is Justin Prime. You're listening to the Jprimecast, episode 4. That means we are 4 weeks into this, and I'm having a ton of fun. I didn't think it'd be this enjoyable. I was actually really nervous about doing the podcast, the Jprimecast, that is. But I've had a blast. We're 4 weeks in. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But this is cool, man. I've really enjoyed it. This is the heart of it is the Jprimecast. Where I take basically it's my own artist inventory challenge where I take my artistic inventory for the week, set some goals for myself, see if I met them. That's really it, and just share my thoughts along the way. And then I've got what else we got? We have the JP reads. That's just entertainment. That's just what people enjoy, and I enjoy the heck out of it. Although it's become kind of painful to read because there's some really bad songs out there. The last one I did was Rihanna. Bitch Better Get My Money. God, that was just painful to read. Anyhow, there's something I started, 2-minute answers. I've done a few of those. I think those could be very valuable for people as I continue to refine my 2-minute answer skills. What else am I doing here? Oh, the interviews. Had a couple this week. Didn't happen. I'll talk about it later on. There's interviews with people. There's the artist inventory challenge where I talk to other artists like myself that are talented but might be kind of stuck, not sure where to go, whatever. I want to do more of those. And what else do I do? Oh, and then I just started something called Reflection. Just basically if something inspires me that's worth like a little bit of a longer video, but not a full 30, 45-minute episode. The last one I did, well, the first and only one I did was from Nicholas Draper Ivy. He had written this rant on his Instagram stories about his work ethic and friendships and kind of what he's looking for right now. And it really spoke to me. So I did a 15-minute reading and then reflection on it. I like that a lot. I want to do more of those. So welcome to the Jprimecast episode 4. Let's get going. But before we begin the episode proper, I have a personal challenge for myself during this episode, and that is to not ask you for a damn thing. This is something I hear and see from not just artists, but anybody, but I'll just talk about artists. Something I see and hear from artists on all social media is do this for me, do that, buy this, back my Kickstarter, back my Patreon, and it's kind of like over and over and over again. And I can't blame them. I respect that they're trying to make a product, sell stuff, make a living. No problem. I get that. I guess just for me, it gets annoying. So since I'm annoyed by that, I don't want to push that off onto you. I shouldn't be that way. I don't think I really am usually. But this episode, I want to make sure that I don't ask you for a damn thing. Although at the end, there is kind of like a weekly challenge that's brand new. But I'm not asking you to do it. I'm inviting you. So it's different. But beyond that, that's just for your own growth and my own growth. Actually, no, it's not. It's just for fun. Whatever. We'll get to it. But I don't want to ask you for anything during this episode or even the next one. Honestly, I want to bring value to you. You're giving me your attention, which I really appreciate. This podcast is for me to track my own growth, but I'm sharing it with you. So I really want you to get value of it, and that's my goal. That's it. I want to leave it there. And I'm not going to ask you for anything else. That feels right to me. It just feels better. It's more about bringing value to you. That's an idea that I got from Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. You need to be listening to him if you're not. And so that's my goal, just to be transparent. Let's move on. All right, and the tradition here is that I will talk to someone for this episode. I don't feel like I need to do this anymore, but I kind of like it now. It's just fun. Originally, this was my way of kind of getting out of my own head. It's because it feels weird to talk to yourself or talk into a microphone with no one here. So I started this thing where I would talk to someone. It was whoever shows up in my Instagram feed last. So I'm gonna do that again, as long as it's not a kid, because that feels weird. All right, let's take a look. Josh Bass _master or Josh Bass _master. I'm gonna guess this is not a child, I guess. Sorry, I felt weird. So Josh, wow, he's followed by B Turner _art and the franchise live, both people who I follow and really admire. That's super cool. So Joshua, thank you for popping up in my news feed. This is for you, man. I'm talking to you tonight. All right, let's get going. Episode 4. Let's talk. Let's do the artist inventory challenge. All right, the artist inventory challenge. This is the personal edition, the weekly reflection that I do about my growth or non-growth for the week. These are the projects I'm currently working on. Scoldger Stories issue number 3, Astropig, just social media and podcast growth and connection, my fundamental art skills, and then a 5th one is that I had specific goals from last week, which tie into the other 4, but I'm going to separate those and just kind of reflect on those as they come up. But I had goals from last week, which are number 1, practice my fundamentals daily. Number 2, design 1 creature for Astropig Book 1. And number 3, work on the suit designs for Scoldger Stories issue 3. I almost added another project. This week I almost added another project. It occurred to me that this is a great platform. The Jprimecast is a great platform for an audiobook. And I think I would enjoy doing that. And I think it would be a faster way of getting a Scoldger Stories story out. So I started to work on that and I realized, you know what, I can't. I have to stop at some point with the projects. I have too many big ones going on right now. So I put that to the side. So there was almost, like, seriously super close. And I actually have a couple of working scripts or stories that I could transition into an audiobook. So I think that's something I will work on in the future. Right now, I can't tackle it, I don't think. I'd have to have a good chunk of dead time to write. And it's just another thing that I don't need. Okay, so those are my projects. First, let's talk about what went wrong. I should flip this and do what went right, but I'm not going to. Let's talk about the stumbles. There is a theme here, people. Same as last week. There's a theme of what is going wrong. For Scoldger Stories, the what went wrong. I have too many projects going on, and the goal that I set for Scoldger Stories is too small. Just suit design, I should be able to do that fairly quickly. It shouldn't take me a week. That's too long. So yeah, too many projects, and the goal was too small. Astropig, I have too many projects going on, and the goal that was too small. It was 1 creature design. That's in a week. 1 creature design. That's it. So it feels too small, and again, too many projects. I couldn't really advance on Astropig very well. Number 3, social media podcast. Again, I have too many projects going on, so I could not put more time into those. And the goals that I have for the podcast and the social media might be too big, which is to really give one-on-one time to whoever pops up in my DMs. I'm giving them a lot of my time, which I don't mind. It's fun. I find it rewarding, and I'm building relationships that way, which is which is a bigger goal of mine. And I do have 2 much larger goals. One of them is to have deeper connections with my fans and followers, and I do believe I'm meeting that. And the other much bigger goal is to eventually open up actually, I already have it open. It's a mentorship kind of thing where people pay me a small fee for mentorship or do a free mentorship, one-on-one chat, like through live stream, where it's free, but I get to record it and share it on YouTube, or even on the podcast here. So those are my bigger goals that I would like to transition to and work towards. Not in a huge rush, but that's kind of what I'm heading towards. Anyhow, so with the social media and podcast stumbles for the week, I have too many projects again. The goals for the social media thing might be too big. Like the podcast, I do a weekly podcast, but like I listed at the beginning of this one, I have a bunch of other like mini episodes, like things that I do. It's not just like a weekly podcast and that's it. There's all this other stuff that I'm doing as well. So yeah, and plus I'm much more consistent with my YouTube channel. I'm uploading a couple of videos per week. Usually at this point, it's the J Prime and B Dog mentorship series that I've been doing, and JP Reads, and I have a bunch of stuff that I have not uploaded yet because of time. It's just because of time. I have to edit audio and video, and it's a time issue. So I've sacrificed that. Yeah, so that might be the issue right now. My stumbles with social media and podcasts is there's just the goal's too big, and I have too many other projects. This week, another stumble with social media and podcasts, well, podcast in particular. No, actually, just in general, social media, is I had two interviews planned. One was actually someone was going to ask me questions about comic creation, and it was just a Q&A kind of thing, and he agreed to do it and record it, so I can make content out of it. And that didn't happen. That was supposed to happen on Friday night, and I don't know, like, so he never contacted me. I told him I'm waiting for you. I never heard from him until was it this morning? I think this morning, Sunday morning, or maybe even yesterday. I don't know. But he said he got in a car crash and broke his leg, and he'd be available maybe Monday night at the earliest. So that will happen, and I'm really glad he's okay. But I was looking forward to that because I think, I mean, this is all about this. I'm reaching out to independent comic creators, so having a Q&A about that I think would be ideal. Um, and I really want to do a creator's commentary for my first two issues, or actually two and a half. But that again is a huge chunk of time that I haven't set aside yet. But yeah, that's a whole other project. The other interview that didn't happen was supposed to be last night, Saturday night, with I won't say his name right now in case it never happens, but I think it'll happen. But he has two kids of his own, and he was texting me throughout the night saying, "Yeah, they're still awake. They're still awake." At one point, he sent me a picture of his kids, and they were like partying. They were having a blast, dressed up in like St. Patrick's Day, like green. And he said, "Yeah, they were. It was like music night. They were watching music videos." And he said that's probably not helping. So eventually, it was like 2 a.m. my time, and I had finished the commission, and I decided to go to bed. And then the next morning, he called me, and he's like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. I fell asleep." So I mean, that's kind of what I assumed what happened was he was just hanging out with his kids, trying to get him to bed, and then like everyone just fell asleep. So I totally got that. He was in contact with me. We will talk. I can't wait for this one because the amount of value that I'll be able to bring to the people listening, like, is just amazing because he's fucking dominant force when it comes to conventions. He kicks ass. I thought I kicked ass in conventions. This guy dominated me. Like, he was, and he gave me. There was one convention where he gave me and Brendan a lot of his time and answered questions for us and chit chatted with us, and like he's just, oh man, he's mind blowing. He's really cool. So, and he's a dad with a job, two kids, and he's just killing it. So hopefully he and I can arrange that as soon as possible. It'll happen. It'll happen. So if you're into conventions, like I hope it happens sooner than later because you'll learn a lot. I know it. So those are the stumbles for social media and podcasts. For my art skills, my fundamentals practice, the goal was to do it daily. That did not happen. I failed. Um, so again, here's the issue. There's too many projects. That is an issue. I had decided last week to shelve the projects and a little bit and focus on the fundamentals. I don't know if I did a good enough job of that because I'm so excited about my projects, and I'm not willing to sacrifice that much time. So that's a big stumble. Yeah, so too many projects. Again, do you hear a theme here? And number two was I when I would set out to work on fundamentals, I'm realizing I don't actually understand the fundamentals. I understand what I've seen Proco do, but I can't replicate it. And like I'm getting it, um, but I'm not at a point where I can just sit down and actually I can mimic what he's doing or what other artists are doing. I can mimic what is shadow, but I don't fully understand it. But I think this week I made a lot of progress in actually understanding how shadow and light and value and whatnot, how those actually work. So even though I didn't practice every day, I did pay concerted attention to it every day. And there was a couple days where I really went deep into understanding and studying it. And that's kind of where I needed to be, I realized. So I think I made progress there. And I'm okay with that progress that I made this week. So that means next week, this upcoming week, it's probably time to start actually practicing it. What's funny is, man, the whole point of this podcast is to hold myself accountable, right? But that also means that you guys can hear what I'm saying, and you guys can hold me accountable. And that happened. I posted on a picture of one of the JP reads, I think, and I in the description I wrote, hopefully I'm brave enough next time to actually pick my own light source rather than going based off the photo reference. So I kind of put that out there, and then Luke Brown, who I talk with for an artist inventory challenge, Lab 5 Studios. Luke Brown, I think he left in the comments. I'll read it to you. Actually, I'm not gonna look it up. But basically, he called me out in the comments because in a previous little recording I did, I had said something to the effect of, "Oh yeah, it was one of the 2-minute answers. One of the 2-minute answers. Basically, like there's not going to be a perfect time. Just go." So he basically called me out on that in the comments, and I was like, "Damn you!" But he's right. There's not going to be a perfect time where I understand it perfectly. I just need to kind of go. This week, I made a lot of progress with understanding things. So next week, starting tomorrow, I probably need to start executing. And I think I'm ready for that. I did a commission last night. Maestro. I did a Maestro commission, which I thought came out really well, and I've gotten some good feedback on it. But I made more of an effort to focus on coloring fundamentals, and I think I did a pretty damn good job. I was about to tell you to give it a look, but I stopped myself because I don't want to ask you to do anything. So I feel like I put what I learned into practice. And the one thing that I did that really clicked with me finally was in one of the videos, Proco said to start. Well, this is actually a success. I'll talk about it when I get to the successes. So the overall theme here is I am overloaded with projects. This deserves its own segment. So I'll hold off on that for now. But that is the theme. I'm sure you can tell. But let's talk about some successes. Let's get into the successes. For Scolder Stories, I did revamp the suit design. I haven't shared it yet, but I do feel a lot more excited about where it's headed. The problem with the first design colors that I had set out, I didn't feel that excited about the colors. I had kind of looked up on Pinterest some color pairings. I looked up like masculine color pairings, and it was nice. It looked okay, and the suit design was getting there, but the colors didn't have that pop that I've had in my mind for a long time. So this week I abandoned the color palette, basically started from scratch, and I got a nice lime green in there with some darker colors, and that's kind of what I had in my mind. So I went with it, and I think it's better off. I'm just working on Annie's to kind of complement Lance's suit design. So she'll have the same color palette, I think. Well, at least so far she does. But so right now I'm kind of stuck on Annie's. Just a couple little tweaks to make, but I'm getting there. So I made some progress with the suit design, colors, which is huge, and the actual like color layout and whatnot. So it's got more pop. That's what I wanted. So I'm getting there. So I do feel like I met a goal from last week, at least like 75%, because Andy's is not 100% done, but it's almost there. So I would say like 75, 80%. I met that goal. That's a victory, I think, overall. For Astropig, the success here is I did the first pass on a creature design. That was the goal from last week. I thought I would do a creature like just, some sort of 4-legged mammal kind of thing. But I ended up going and doing a design for the giant book 1 for Astropig has a giant in it. And it's a big part of the story, so I went straight for that. And it came out. I didn't have anything in mind. I knew I wanted it to be humanoid, like arms and legs, just like a human. I realize a lot of things have arms and legs, but you get the idea, right? So it's basically like a big ass human, right? But I didn't want it to feel too human. I think what I came up with is human enough, but can be recognized as something not from Earth. And there's plenty of time to tweak it, but I think I have a good start on that. And I didn't know what he was wearing at all, and what came out was kind of like this overall kind of like thing. So he's got this sort of redneck feel, and I have 3 variations of the overalls he's wearing. It's not overalls. That's not the word for it. He's basically got this flap in the front that buttons down if he has to like go to the bathroom. I don't know. And there's one version that's more like galactic, spacey, futuristic looking. Another version that's like underoos, and then another version where he's wearing nothing but this like flap overall kind of thing. Super hard to describe, but I'm happy with the progress that I made, and I'm glad that I tackled something really big because it helps ground me more in where I'm going. So I'm happy with that. I feel like I did meet a goal. I don't feel like I met a goal. I did meet a goal from last week. So check. For the social media / podcast, some successes this week. I've been creating a list of topics that I want to get to. The list is getting pretty big. The only issue there is that I don't know how good I am at just kind of talking and making shit up as I go along. So I'm trying to outline those, and they're all kind of pretty in-depth things, so I'm not tackling them quite yet. But I have a nice list going of things I'd like to get to, and I've started outlining as I know what I want to cover, for each topic. Success is the podcast seems to be going really well. I don't know what to compare it to. I see the numbers that Anchor gives me as far as downloads and whatnot. I'm over 600 for this. It's only a month old. Like that seems like pretty good to me. And my growth chart is like skyrocketing. It looks like it's just straight up. So all that's good. I got accepted onto Stitcher as a podcast partner kind of thing. That seems like a big deal to me. I don't know. But again, I don't know what to compare it to. I don't know how many podcasts they reject or accept. But I'm really excited about it. I'm adding something to the podcast, a couple things, 2 or 3 things a week at least, with no plans to slow down whatsoever. So I feel like the podcast is going pretty damn well. I've gotten some good feedback from people, but the most important thing is like I feel good about it. I'm really having a lot of fun. It's cool. Like I look forward to it. I looked forward to tonight all week. I look forward to Sunday night, because Sunday night is Jprimecast, where I can reflect on the week and I feel like I'm talking more directly to you, whereas the other little segments that I do, I don't exactly feel that way. Maybe the 2-minute answers I do. But I don't know. This one just feels different. So yeah, I feel like the podcast is going pretty well. Social media success. I feel like I'm making new connections through listening to podcasts and kind of reaching out to them. And I'm also giving more individual time to people through direct message. I'm having some good conversations, answering questions, challenging people. It's fun. I've been really, I feel like I'm making some good connections there, which is a big goal of mine. So that's a big success. And the 2 interviews didn't go through, but I know they will happen soon. So I guess that's a future success that will happen. I will win in that area. So for overall, social media podcasts, just tons of positive on my end. I'm enjoying it. Hopefully you guys are too, but I'm enjoying the hell out of this. Just overall, like the whole, you get it. Positives with art skill level, lots of studying. I feel like I made an honest effort in, getting to understand and make sense of things, and not just fake it. Like I don't want to keep faking it, and I've done that for a long, long time. So I feel like studying, noticing things, and really going deep in in photo reference. Like I feel like I'm making a lot of headway there. I do feel like it's for me. It is important that I understand what I'm doing at this point before I execute. I've been executing for years without fully understanding, and that's gotten me to where I'm at right now. That's gotten me followers and commissions, and that's cool. That's great, but it's not going to get me to the level I want to get to, or where I feel like I could. Yeah, it's like if I don't understand what I'm doing, I feel like I'm just kind of spinning my wheels and doing the same stuff over and over again. I might improve, but I'm faking improving it. It's not real improvement, in my opinion. So this week a big success was I grasped the idea of planes. Proco had this video, or a bunch of videos about values, and one of them he recommended that rather than looking at things as like a smooth round shape like a ball, look at it as a collection of planes, flat planes that are connected. So like hexagons or squares or diamonds or whatever. So that finally made sense, and I've made an effort to start looking at things in very reduced forms as like flatter planes that are connected to make a round plane, and that has helped me to understand how shadows work and values. So that's now that that's finally clicked, I think I'll be able to make more real progress. So that was a success. I mean, I can't believe it took me that long, but I finally it got it. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So I feel like I did meet a goal from last week. Well, I mean, technically I didn't, but I do feel like I made progress at least, so I'll take that. But I did practice on I do those JP reads and I draw. So the last one I drew was Post Malone, and I made up a light source and tried to execute it. Or I did execute it, and I think it was pretty convincing. So that was like I am putting it into practice, just not on a daily basis yet. So yeah, those I feel like I succeeded this week in those areas. All right, so Joshua, I'm sure you're wondering about this overall theme of being overloaded, and maybe everyone else is too. Yeah, I have too many projects. This keeps coming up. I probably have mentioned this each episode. I don't know. Um, I am overloaded right now. I have too many projects going on, but I'm gonna roll with it. I'm not gonna choose one. I could. I don't want to. Like I'm having so much fun with each of them. So at this point for this week, I'm not going to decide forever, but just like for this next week, I'm going to keep pushing all my projects all at once and seeing what happens. Like I'm just so into each one right now. You know, so basically it's like this is just an experiment. Let's just see what happens. This actually came up for me, and I'm what I'm doing is I'm going to trust in the process. So that means I'm not going to force a decision. I'm just going to trust that the right path will open up for me. This happened, like last year, I think. So some of you may know that I have a full-time job. Well, you should all know that. I have a full-time job, which I like a lot. It's a good, great job. And so I'm a therapist, which I've said before, but I don't like talking too much about it. Because I like to keep those lives separate. But last year, I was thinking about taking that more seriously and doing like a private practice kind of thing and working specifically with families. I'm sorry, with parents, because parenting is important to me and therapy is important to me. And I love working with parents. For the past 10 years, I've done parenting groups and work with parents, and um, I like it a lot. So the last year ish, I was debating on whether I should put more time into that or into art. And I decided I'll do both. I'll put equal time into both and just power through it. And at first the therapy parenting side of things was winning out. I was putting a lot more time into that. I had made a website for it. done all this like research into blah blah blah, all kinds of stuff like forums and just therapy stuff, and put it all together. Made social media for it, got that going. I was hammering away at it pretty much every day, multiple times a day, and doing artwork at the same time. So neither of them, even though the therapy one kind of edged out a little bit, overall neither of them got the attention that they deserved. Did not get my full 100% effort. And what ended up happening was I abandoned the therapy stuff altogether because I realized how I could not live without the art part of it, of me. And what happened was I asked myself, all right, like, which one of these things can I not picture? Sorry, what the hell did I ask myself? I asked myself, which one of these things can I not live without? That was the question. So if I die, can I live without being a therapist in private practice? And the answer was, yeah, I can live with that. But if I were to die, could I live with not pushing myself as an artist as hard as I can? And no, I cannot live with that. So that made it really clear for me. Okay, so that's more important. So I've been through that kind of process, that big decision-making thing before, and I just kind of do it and do both and see what happens. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now is I'm doing Astropig and Sculptor Stories and a couple other things. And I'm gonna do it, and we'll just see what happens. We'll see how I feel. But I'm not gonna I'm not gonna keep debating on which one I should pick. I'm just gonna do them, and whatever one. If I needed to make a change, it'll become clear. Like I just trust in the process. So that's my answer, Joshua. Let's just see what happens. Like you're along for the ride with me now, dude. The path will become clear. Now, with all that in mind, I have to ask myself, what is the goal for the week? And I've thought about it, and I kind of feel like just maintaining this progress is the goal again. So one new creature for Astropig, solidifying the suit designs for Sculptor Stories. Yeah, because there's actually more to go. I just realized they have to have like some additions. So that really is kind of where I need to be. Like I want to do more for both, but I can't because I realistically I won't. Like I feel like I am kind of maxed out. I don't feel like it. I am maxed out. I do work. I do have a wife. I do have kids. And I'm not. I've cut out video games. I've cut out Netflix. Everything. Like it's all work. You know what I could do? I'm gonna cut out commissions this week. Actually, indefinitely. I'm gonna stop those, except maybe for a couple rare circumstances. But yeah, I need to stop commissions because yeah. So that might help. I have a couple I have to finish, but other than that, yeah. I can cut out commissions. I could stop doing JP reads, or maybe just the audio of it and leave it on the podcast and not do a video. Sorry, I'm just kind of brainstorming here on the fly. All right, so goals. Continue the pace I made. One new creature for Astropig. Finish the suit designs for Sculptor Stories. I want them done. Stop commissions. And I'll do those. And then fundamentals daily. So I'll do those. Those are my goals. We'll see how it goes. I mean, like again, let's just see how it goes, and then we'll tweak it next week. Yeah. Let's talk briefly about a tool that I'm using that I do recommend. Oh, and the good news is that Comcast was out here, and I guess there was some issue in the area, and supposed to be better. I did a speed test, and it was kicking ass. The goal was to try out the live stream this weekend, and both of those fell through, so I haven't been able to test my live stream capabilities. Because if you've listened before, you know I have issues with that. So hopefully that will be addressed just as a follow-up from last week. This week I want to talk to you about Google Docs just briefly. I'm sure there's plenty of software or apps that do what Google Docs does, but I really like Google Docs. I like Google overall. I love just the incredible amount of stuff that they give away for free. Yeah, Google Docs is obviously super easy, very convenient. I do my script writing on Google Docs. I do outlines for each episode that I do here for Jprimecast. And I save each of those in a different file, just a different document. Just, I don't know, like, in case I need it someday, I guess. Like show notes, Yeah, actually, I'm sorry, not just Google Docs, but Google Drive. Google Drive is fantastic. And I use pretty much everything that they offer. But so on my phone I'll use Google Drive and open up a doc and just I'll edit something while I'm waiting in line at the store, or seriously, like as soon as I get out of my car to pick up my son, I get my phone out and I will be writing or responding to DMs, pick up my son, get back in the car. It's like I'm using it constantly. So I have found Google Docs and Drive to be just so practical and handy and free, and I love it. I might actually upgrade to my own custom email and get more shit, but for now, I really like Google Docs. When it saves automatically, I love that. Like when I'm writing, it just keeps saving automatically. I'm sure there's other things out there that do that, but I'm really impressed with them. I like them a lot. And you can work online or offline if you're into writing or note taking or outlining a podcast or whatever. It's been ridiculously helpful because I can do it anywhere. Just like my tablet, my Surface Pro, my new Surface Pro, I bring it with me like everywhere because I can. It's just too practical. Next up, Joshua, is I talk about someone I follow that I've been really inspired or impressed with, and that is Eric Canetti. I'm sure every single one of you follow Eric Canetti. If not, I was about to ask you for something, but I'm not going to. But I do recommend that you follow Eric Canetti. The dude is just fucking cool, man. That's the first thing. Is he's just a cool guy. I heard him interview with Ink Pulp on Ink Pulp Audio. He has a podcast of interviews. Overall, really good podcast. Also another recommendation. And he talked to Eric Canetti, and it's just, that dude's fucking cool, man. His art is cool. I don't. That's just the word for it. He's just cool. His art is ridiculously cool. Style is ridiculously cool. He's got a good voice too. He's got a cool voice. He's just a cool guy overall, like just generally. So there's that. But then his artwork is just absolutely amazing. Like, you know this already. I'm sure you know this already, and I'm sure you agree with me. He's one of those artists, and there's not a whole lot. Even though I follow I think over 600, and it's probably true for you too. Like, we follow all these people, but how often do you actually stop and look closely, or go into their gallery and look through their stuff all at once, So Eric Canetti is one of those that I want to make sure I see everything he does. His stuff consistently blows me away. I'm sure you agree with me. I recommend you follow him. That's it. Now let's take, I want to give a shout out to, I don't like saying that, a shout out. What the hell does that mean? I want to pay attention briefly to someone who follows me that I have been inspired by or supported by or whatever. And that is at Master Stagen. Love his name. At Master Stagen. He's so supportive of artists, I think, in general. But for me in particular, just super supportive in DMs, in comments, just positivity. He's just awesome. He's really into geek nerd culture. He's just, I don't know, like a true artist fanboy, I guess is the way to say it. Hopefully he follows you if you're, hopefully he does. He's phenomenal. Very supportive, very interactive. And he actually, I saw he commissioned another artist, I believe it was Free Mechanism, at Free Mechanism, another great artist. But he commissioned him to do a caricature or a character of himself, which I thought was just awesome. I thought that was great. And it came out really good, of course. Free Mechanism is phenomenal. But yeah, at Master Stagen, I appreciate the hell out of you, man. I know I've told you that, but I can't tell you that enough. You mean a lot to me, dude. I thank you for your support, for giving me your attention or my artwork. It just means a lot, dude. Thank you. Joshua, I used to talk about what I've been into the past week. I'm not going to do that anymore because it's stupid. Who gives a shit? Like, I don't even care. Like, I'm not interested in it, so I'm not going to do it anymore. I think last week I asked people if they cared. I didn't get any responses, which is fine. But the fact is, I don't give a shit. So I'm like, it just bores me, and I spend so much time on work right now. I'm not really like into anything. I listen to a lot of, right now I'm listening to a lot of hip hop music, but I'm not really watching any movies or TV shows. So I'm done with this segment. I'm not going to be bringing it up anymore. It's not something I've put any time into or want to put time into. And like, if you want to know about movie reviews or whatever, like everyone does that. Everyone does that. You can literally pick any random podcast and hear what people think about Justice League, which I'm sure sucked. Um, so I'm just I want to bring value to everyone listening, and I want to do it differently. So I'm done with that. I might replace it with like a 2 minute answer segment. That might be cool. I think that'll bring you some value. But for now, I'm just done with it. If there is something that I'm absolutely like inspired by or amazed by, I will share that. But I'm not just not like this random like chit chat kind of stuff. I'm not doing that. So this segment is officially done. But a brand new segment. That might have been too loud for the microphone, sorry. But a brand new segment is the Prime Challenge for the week. I guess that's what I'm calling it. I am terrible at naming things. Anyhow, Prime Challenge for the week. This is not my idea. Actually, I'm sorry. I kind of had this idea and ignored it. And then this is the second time I'm bringing you up, dude. Luke Brown, Lab 5 Studios. He recommended that I do a challenge for the week, which is to reach out to your favorite pro level artists and through DMs, just DM, just like send them a direct message, and let's see who responds. So this is where I am. I guess I am kind of asking you for something, which is disappointing. But really, I'm recommending you do it. I'm inviting you to do this, take part in this. But reach out to like your favorite pro level artist, someone who is working in comics or publishing, or I don't know, just working as an artist and like actually getting paid for it at a professional level. Um, and so DM them and let's see who responds. Like, let me know. And so if they do respond, let me know, and then I can next week maybe I'll do a follow up and do a little shout out because that's special. Like it means something, when your favorite artists get back to you. It's like you feel good. It means something. So I want to pay attention. I want to give some support or some positivity to those artists that aren't too big for us. You know what I mean? So I know Luke reached out to Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane. He went straight to the top, which I respected. I like that. So yeah, he reached out to Todd McFarlane. I reached out to someone this week and did not get a response. So I'm not going to call him out. I'm not going to be negative. Didn't get a response, but we'll see if Todd McFarlane does. I'm going to guess he doesn't, but we'll see. But yeah, that's your challenge for the week, just for fun. Yeah, feel free to let me know. Oh, if you have Anchor, you can actually send me a voice message of who, or just send me a voice message. So you can send me a voice message with who responded to you, or DM or an email, whatever you want. But if you're gonna reach out to a pro level artist, do so with like a purpose. Like ask them a very specific question that they can answer quickly. So not just like who is your I guess you could do like who's your biggest influence, and just like because it's a super easy, quick answer. I'd actually be really interested to know what you asked and what the answers were if you followed through with this. I have a suspicion no one is going to do this, but if you do, let me know. And that is the episode for the week. That is it. That's the episode for the week. Thank you for listening. If you listened the whole way through, thank you doubly, triply even. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I know I keep saying that, but I am. I hope you feel that. I hope you got value out of this. I hope there was something in here that clicked with you or helped you in some way. I really do. I feel like this keeps me honest. That's what I get out of it. But I hope you got something out of this too. Um, but seriously, thank you for listening.